Usually when we pick up a coming-of-age story, there is this comforting expectation of a neat, linear progression.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you think of it almost like climbing a staircase. You make a few naive mistakes, you learn a hard lesson, you step up to the next level, and suddenly you are a fully formed, well-adjusted adult.
Right, with a matching 401k and a perfectly healthy relationship.
Exactly.
It's a very seductive narrative, honestly. We desperately like the idea that maturity is just a destination you arrive at once you check off enough societal boxes.
But then you dive into the realities of actual adult life, and suddenly that pristine staircase looks more like a crumbling cliff face.
Yeah, that is a great way to put it.
You find yourself navigating this landscape of unfulfilled expectations and sudden realities that is, honestly, completely disorienting. And that shared disorientation, that feeling of having the rug violently pulled out from under you, is exactly what we're unpacking today.
And it is a fascinating source text we have for this.
It really is. Today's deep dive is focusing on excerpts from a debut fiction novel called We're There for Each Other.
Right.
It's by a 24-year-old Mumbai author named Sagar Chudesara. And our mission here is to extract the core themes from this incredibly intense story of 4 friends.
Which is quite a heavy lift because it goes to some very real places.
Oh, it does. We're going to analyze how the author uses raw, sometimes painfully awkward real-world scenarios to explore that brutal transition from teenage infatuation to the very harsh realities of adult health, corporate burnout, and conditional love.
And the way the author approaches this material is just incredibly deliberate.
Okay, let's unpack this, because what I love about how the author Sagar Chudesara wrote this is that he doesn't invent some polished fantasy world.
No, not on.
I mean, he's a 24-year-old from Mumbai. He's a massive South Indian movie enthusiast, a road tricker. And he literally drops his own name into the story. He uses real Mumbai geography.
Right, he places the characters in highly specific locations, like Malar East and the Ganesh Bhuvan Housing Society.
Yeah.
It gives the whole thing this gritty, documentary-like texture. You aren't just reading a fable, you're looking at someone's actual neighborhood.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how the book immediately shatters the illusion of the perfect romance right out of the gate.
It really doesn't pull any punches.
It doesn't build up to a climax of heartbreak at all. It starts with 2 simultaneous heartbreaks on a building terrace on November 15, 2018. It forces us to just sit in the rubble of it from page 1.
It's a bold narrative choice, right? By starting at rock bottom, the author forces us to examine the coping mechanisms these characters use to survive.
It really makes you think about your own life, whether you are currently navigating the chaotic modern dating world, or maybe grinding away in a demanding corporate job, or dealing with unexpected health issues.
Which happens to the best of us.
It really does. And this story holds up a very uncomfortable mirror to how poorly equipped we often are when our meticulously planned lives go completely off script.
So let's look at the character Sagar. We find him on this building terrace in the present timeline, which is 2018. Okay.
And he reveals to his best friend, Malar, that he has just faced a brutal, definitive rejection by a woman named Devaki.
Right.
But to actually understand the weight of that rejection, we can't just look at the present. The narrative immediately flashes back 5 years to his very first love in junior college, a girl named Priya.
And this teenage romance, it is painted with such vivid, hyper-specific strokes. They aren't just dating, they are completely enmeshed.
Totally entangled.
Right. They are bunking classes to go get gelato on the first of every single month. They are bonding over their deepest, darkest insecurities.
Which is so typical of that age, but so intense.
It is. Sagar hates his skinny body, and Priya shares the intense stigmas she faces. Like being forced to sleep in a storeroom during her periods by her family.
Wow.
Or the agonizing pain of bikini waxes dictated by societal beauty standards.
They're completely bare with each other. It's that raw vulnerability you really usually only see in your formative years.
But there's this one detail that just stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, the Skype thing. Yes. After school, they would retreat to their separate bathrooms, plug in their earphones, and experience what the author calls a mutual loss of mental virginity via Skype.
Yeah, that is a heavy phrase.
I have to admit, that phrase is intense. What does the author actually mean by that in this context?
Well, it represents a total, absolute lack of psychological boundaries.
Okay.
When you are a teenager, you don't have a fully formed sense of self yet, So when you enter a relationship that intense, you aren't just sharing your life with someone.
You're right.
You are literally pouring your developing identity into them. You become a single emotional organism.
Which makes the ending of that relationship so much more devastating.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it doesn't just fade out, it's a traumatic, abrupt severance. They're hanging out outside a classroom. Priya accidentally drops her ID card, and as they're close together picking it up, they get caught in this compromising moment by a teacher.
Just a terrible stroke of bad luck.
And the fallout is instantaneous. The very next day, Priya's family just vanishes. They pack up and move to Gujarat. She's gone. Her phone is off. Her Facebook is deactivated.
It's like she was erased from the earth.
Exactly. And look at Sagar's reaction. It's a total system collapse. He drops out of college entirely and retreats to work in his parents' beauty parlor business. He just shuts down.
Yeah, the coping mechanism just totally fails.
It really is a total collapse.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me think about learning to ride a bike.
Okay, how so?
Well, to me, Sagar losing Priya is like suddenly losing the training wheels on a bike while you are speeding downhill.
Oh, I see.
I mean, the author literally calls her a float that was keeping him from drowning.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Is it healthy that Sagar credits his entire survival to a teenage relationship?
Not at all.
Or does treating her like a literal life preserver set him up for his obsessive behavior later on?
It absolutely sets him up for failure. That is the critical vulnerability of externalizing your stability.
So relying on the training wheels.
Exactly. Think about your bike analogy. When you rely on training wheels, you never actually develop the core muscles required to balance your own center of gravity.
Right, because the bike is doing it for you.
You aren't riding the bike, the wheels are riding it for you. So when they come off, you don't just wobble, you crash.
Wow.
When your buoyancy is entirely dependent on someone else, you don't actually learn how to survive the water. You just start frantically searching for another float.
Which perfectly explains the next 5 years of his life.
Yeah, it does.
He just spends half a decade emotionally stunted, going through the motions at the beauty parlor, completely hollowed out, until he finally reconnects with his childhood friends, Malar and Harsh. He never processed the loss of Priya.
Exactly. He just waited in a state of suspended animation for the next external force to come along and save him.
Which brings us back to 2018 and this incredible transition from his past trauma to his current romantic failure with Devaki.
Right, back to the terrace.
Yes, and this is where the story brilliantly tackles the line between obsession and reality in modern dating.
The contrast between the organic vulnerability of his first love and this new, calculated pursuit is really jarring.
Jarring and, honestly, hilariously awkward.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, the meet cute between Sagar and Devaki is like something out of a chaotic fever dream.
It's so bad.
They are at Rupali Didi's engagement party. Sagar has downed like 4 glasses of Blue Lagoon welcome drinks.
A recipe for disaster.
He rushes to the bathroom and manages to get his zipper completely stuck while happily humming the song Bum Diggy Diggy Bum Bum.
It is a highly specific, mortifying detail that strips away any illusion of suave romance.
So mortifying. And in that exact, vulnerable, ridiculous moment, Devaki accidentally walks into the men's restroom.
Of course she does.
That is how they meet. But instead of just laughing it off as a funny party story, Sagar latches on with a terrifying grip.
He really does.
For the next 8 months, he engages in this entirely one-sided pursuit. He starts changing his entire Instagram aesthetic.
Posting the Rumi quotes.
Yes, posting Rumi quotes and brooding travel photos just to match the kind of content she posts.
He is mirroring her. It's a classic sign of limerence.
But is he really in love with her? Or is he just profoundly lonely? Because he is misinterpreting her basic, polite replies as deep romantic interest.
Right, she's just being civil.
She's being polite, and he's planning their wedding in his head.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is a textbook study on the difference between obsession and love.
Okay, unpack that.
Obsession requires relentless trying. It requires you to mold yourself into a shape you think the other person wants, projecting an entire idealized future onto a relative stranger.
So you aren't even seeing the real person.
Exactly. You aren't seeing them, you are seeing what they can do for you. True love, as the author notes through the contrast with his earlier relationship, grows organically.
So the Priya relationship was more real.
Much more. Sagar isn't in love with Devaki. He doesn't even really know Devaki. He's in love with the idea of Devaki acting as his new float so he doesn't have to learn how to swim.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The climax of this entire 8-month obsessive pursuit isn't some grand romantic gesture in the rain.
Oh, this part is amazing.
It's a 3-page love letter. But he doesn't handwrite it. He types it on a Word document and sends it as an attachment via WhatsApp at midnight on November 14th.
The medium completely betrays the message.
It does. It's the ultimate irony of modern technology. You have this supposedly profound, deeply romantic confession of the soul, and it is delivered via a cold, clinical, highly professional Word document attachment.
It's like sending a corporate memo of your feelings.
Exactly. Please see attached for my undying affection.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, Devaki swiftly and firmly rejects him. She tells him she only sees him as a friend.
Because she is existing in reality, while Sagar has been existing in a fantasy he authored in his own head. He tried to force the world to bend to his script.
Which is so ironic because literally a few feet away on that exact same terrace, you have someone trying to outmaneuver their physical reality.
To shift to Malar.
Yes. Malar's doing the exact same thing as Sagar, just with her career in biology instead of a romantic fantasy.
The thematic transition here is brilliant. Both characters are living in a state of profound denial.
So the author introduces Malar using these incredibly rigid, specific metrics. He writes her almost like a character in a video game with maxed out stats.
Right.
She's 5'10", exactly 60 kilograms. She topped her 10th class with a 96%. It shows us exactly how Malar views herself.
She's treating her life and her physical body like a spreadsheet that just needs to be optimized.
Yes, optimized.
And her motivations are deeply rooted in her past. Her father died when she was just 5 years old, so she is fiercely driven to become financially independent, modeling herself after her hero, which is her mother.
And on paper, the spreadsheet works.
Yeah.
She achieves her goals. She becomes a chartered accountant, earning a whopping 1.25 lakhs a month.
Which is huge.
It is. She even finds what seems to be the perfect romance with a guy named Mimit. They bond over black coffee during a massive Mumbai rainstorm at the office. It's incredibly cinematic.
She believes she has successfully optimized her life. She has the career, she has the boyfriend, and she has a rigid timeline to marry Nimit by 2018.
But the reality behind that 1.25 lakh salary is a physiological nightmare.
It really is.
To maintain that corporate facade, she is working from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., sometimes 1 a.m. She is constantly skipping meals. She is biting her nails to the quick.
And the physical toll is immense.
Right. She suffers from severe chronic constipation and her weight balloons from 60 to 80 kilograms. It gets so bad that her hands literally shake while she types.
Wow.
Her eyelids flutter uncontrollably, and she experiences these violent mood swings where she is blasting her juniors or physically throwing her phone across the room.
This is a perfect example of why this narrative matters so deeply to anyone listening. Our bodies are honest, even when our minds are in complete denial.
So true.
Malar thought she could outwork her own biology.
I have to push back a little on how society frames this, though, because if you look at modern hustle culture, Malar was doing exactly what we are all told to do.
That's a fair point.
She was earning incredible money, achieving her childhood dreams. Aren't we all taught that this exact kind of sacrifice in our 20s is totally normal?
Yeah, the whole grind now, rest later mentality.
Right. You put your head down, you grind, you ignore the exhaustion. At what point does hustle culture cross the line and become active self-harm?
Well, it becomes self-harm the moment you begin treating your physical self as an obstacle to your goals rather than the vehicle that allows you to reach them.
Well, that's a good distinction.
When you subject your body to that level of chronic stress, your cortisol levels skyrocket, your metabolism crashes. You are ignoring the biological check engine light.
The check engine light, yeah.
Malar bought into the myth that success requires martyrdom, and biology always wins.
And it does win.
Yeah.
Finally, an office health management camp forces a sudden halt when she is diagnosed with hypothyroidism.
Right.
Her body literally shut down its metabolic engine to force her to stop.
That diagnosis is the cliff face we talked about earlier. It forces her to face the fragility of not just her health, but everything she built on top of that neglected foundation.
And that leads us to the emotional climax of this deep dive, the fragility of conditional love.
This part is tough to read.
Because Malar's illness doesn't just affect her career, it completely shatters her 7-year relationship with Nimit.
The unraveling of that relationship is incredibly hard to look at, but it is vital to understand the mechanics of it.
The truth starts coming to light when Malar takes Sagar to the healing place, which is Dr. Mira's clinic.
Right.
The author describes it as this stark, all-white, freezing cold environment, where Malar finally confesses the truth to Sagar about what's really been happening to her body and her relationship.
The pristine, sterile white of the clinic is such a sharp contrast to the messy, painful reality she's dealing with internally.
Yes, and she admits she is plagued by these recurring nightmares where Nimit is standing there calling her a fat pig.
It's all.
And at first, you think, oh, it's just a manifestation of her own internal insecurities. But then the narrative details their final bedroom encounter, and it is just devastating.
It is the moment the unspoken rules of their relationship are violently dragged into the light.
Malar is desperate for connection. She stops to buy condoms on the way home, hoping to feel desired again, hoping to bridge this massive, growing chasm between them.
She's trying so hard to fix it.
They get back to his bedroom, they undress. But when Nimit actually looks at her, when he sees the physical changes, the stretch marks, the dark patches from the hormonal imbalance, he cannot get hard.
Yeah.
He tries to make a polite, fumbling excuse, saying it's just taking time because it's been a while since they were together. But Malar refuses to let the lies stand.
She confronts him.
She calls out the brutal truth right then and there. And right as this highly traumatic confrontation is happening, Nimit's father walks in with a spare key.
It's like a bad sitcom, but with incredibly high, painful stakes. And, this raises an important question about the foundation of long-term relationships. Up until this point, Nimit was presented as a loyal, supportive partner.
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy.
Exactly. When she got sick, he was the one researching doctors for her. He actually suggested Dr. Mira.
Right.
He played the role of the caring, modern boyfriend. Yet his physical attraction, the intimate core of their romantic connection, was entirely conditional on her remaining in that previous 60-kilogram body.
Wow.
Illness tests, the silent physical contracts couples unknowingly make at the very start of a relationship.
It's chilling because Nimit isn't painted as an evil villain. He's just terribly, disappointingly conditional.
Which is almost scarier, right?
It really is. So what does this all mean? When we tie Sagar and Malar's experiences together, they are both victims of their own high expectations.
Definitely.
Sagar is expecting this grand movie-style romance with Devaki, where his persistence is magically rewarded with love, regardless of her actual feelings.
Because he thinks he earned it.
Right. And Malar is expecting her body and her boyfriend's desire to remain perfectly unchanged while she subjects herself to immense crushing stress.
Exactly. They both operate under the assumption that life will adhere to their scripts.
The word document.
Yes. Sagar writes a literal script in his Word document love letter, and Malar builds a spreadsheet for her life goals. But you cannot neatly format the human heart.
No, you can't.
And you cannot out-spreadsheet human biology. The cliff face doesn't care about your staircase.
That is so well said. We've really gone on a journey today.
We have.
We've seen how Sagar Chudesara's novel uses these highly specific, grounded moments. I mean, from dropping an ID card in a junior college hallway, to a zipper getting stuck at a party, to a devastatingly awkward and traumatic bedroom confrontation.
All of these very real, visceral moments.
Exactly. To illustrate the painful, necessary destructions that precede adult growth.
And this brings the takeaway directly back to you listening right now. It is a prompt to look at the structures of your own life.
Yeah, look inward.
Are you forcing a Word document love letter onto a situation or a person that simply isn't working?
Or are you stubbornly ignoring your body's check engine lights just for the sake of a paycheck or a promotion?
It's so easy to fall into those traps.
We spend so much time building these idealized versions of our lives and our relationships. But I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to explore on your own.
Okay.
When you commit to a long-term partner, you are committing to a biological entity, a body that will inevitably change, that will stretch, that will age, and that will sometimes fail.
Because we all do.
If your attraction and your love are entirely based on the version of them you met on day one, are you actually in love with the person? Or are you just in love with a snapshot in time?
Yeah.